Hestia, living with your family in very, very cramped conditions in Char Hollow has its benefits. Although the accommodation isn't necessarily particularly accommodating for the sheer number of family members you have there, and given that you've recently fallen in with a gang, a hideout might be something of a necessity. And it's in the district of West Crowsfoot where you see a small store which the windows covered in the window display features a lot of arcane tomes of books, various artifacts of interest. There's a few spirit bane charms in there, and a sign saying "Room to Let." The reason for this is evident by the figure who stands by the door, and immediately somebody that you look away from. Local superstition has it that it's bad luck to look at them directly in the eyes, or, well, the closest approximation, as the figure itself wears a bronze plague doctor-like mask with a very highly polished beak, and from behind watches you. You're very aware of, despite the fact you're putting your attention elsewhere, but you're very aware of the two lenses that glow with an ethereal yellow light boring into you as you stand outside this place. This is a spirit warden. And as you stand outside, the reason for the sudden availability of the room is made apparent as a figure is brought down, covered in a black cloth, and taken away by two further spirit wardens who load the cadaver into the back of a very ornate black carriage, the windows covered with black velvet curtain, and pulled by 4 black horses, which themselves stand in the rain, their flanks heaving and beaded with sweat. And it's after they've made their departure, the location, you feel like you can actually look into the location as well. It seems to be the front office of some kind of medium, perhaps, or at least a whisper of some description.
My attention turns to the door and the sign, and I look around and I step through the door and just get a feel for this place.
The first thing that hits you is that the air hangs with the smoke of incense. Several candles burn as well, and the longer you stand there, you begin to feel a little bit lightheaded. And you see a figure sat behind a table with a crystal ball and several other trinkets and various charms and a deck of cards. The figure herself is dressed in a traditional mourning garb. A black veil hangs over her face, and she sits fairly calmly. You're aware of when the door rattles, her head turns towards you. A voice emanates from behind the veil. Come closer. His hand beckons you forward.
I'm sorry, you look like death. What can I...
Oh.
Yes.
She pulls back the veil, and you see now in the illumination of the candles that her eyes are a milky white. Herself, she's well presented. A string of pearls hangs around her neck, and multiple rings on her fingers. And there's a certain amount of expectation expectation. Speaks with a thick Scotland accent.
Hello. Hey, I'm all about fulfilling expectations. I'd like to inquire about the room.
Oh, so you do not wish to commune? No. She pushes the cards, just places them neatly at the center of the table, kind of shaping them into a neat deck with her hands. And looks in your general direction. Doesn't sort of directly maintain eye contact with you for obvious reasons. And 1 coin a week. And this yours, cash only.
That'll be fine. First month free?
Very rarely for free play. Make me a roll.
Alright. This sounds like sway to me.
Absolutely. Oh. Oh. First month is a lot. 2 weeks. If you don't like it, you go.
No, that sounds great. Can I get a look at the room? Is there a tour, or am I just on my own to explore?
Go and look.
There's kind of a giddy step as go ahead.
There is at one end, as you enter the store, you can see there is about halfway down the length of the main kind of opening where this store operates, there is a beaded curtain, and behind that you can see a very rickety old staircase leading upwards.
I bound this with a unfettered glee at having my own place.
Making your way in, there is at the top of the stairs there is a door that leads to the right and sits over the main storefront itself, and a fairly functional room at the very best. This is even though it's Crow's Foot, it's still not the most affluent district. The closest thing to a luxury is a sink in one corner. There's no bathroom, but looking out the window, you can see that there is an outhouse down in the courtyard outside, which itself is fallen into disrepair, and all the stones outside are cracked and weeds are creeping through. The building itself the room itself is very kind of open plan, and has seen better days. There's dust and cobwebs on most of the supporting beams, and at the moment it could do with a little bit of maybe enhancement, but there is certainly the space for it.
I take off my jacket, I surveil the area, and I put my hair up into a little bun, and I say, let's get down to business. And doing a modicum of tidying, getting it guest ready for as much as it could be.
Absolutely. It takes you a few days to actually get this place cleared out, throwing open the windows themselves coated with a layer or years worth of dust and grime and soot from the outside, which is caked on. It's about 2 days later where you feel that you're ready to share your discovery. And with that, Lottie and Gabriel, you arrive at what looks to be the operation of some kind of whisper. This is the address you've been given, and what do you do?
Gabriel's gonna make his way in. Obviously, keeping the door open so Lottie can make their way through as well.
You two see through the haze of smoke and incense, and the woman who, with the rattle of the door, the attention is turned directly towards you. Do you wish to commune?
Gabriel's kind of gonna make his way and step into the room and give her a eyeing up and down. Our associate rented a room here.
Oh. Right. Upstairs. She takes back the veil, and again, you both see those milky eyes.
Gabriel's gonna kind of rub his forehead and he goes, if we're gonna be here for any length of time, I've got to ask you to do one thing for me.
She
just knock it off.
At this point, she leans down, and you see her kind of reach into her eye and kind of remove it. And from behind the milkiness, this bright green eye sort of stares out. The other eye still milky. Gabriel Barceló.
Well then.
I didn't think I'd see you. Thought you'd gone to ground after what went down.
I did, and now I'm back.
Oh. Playing the same game?
Depends on which game you're referring to. I have many.
Oh. You going to introduce me? And she nods up towards Lottie.
Gabriel, you know this lady?
No is a very, very strong term. Can I get a name real quick?
Katarina Voss, or Madame Voss when it's more professional.
Madame Voss. This is Lottie. Lottie, this is Madame Voss.
She, with a now one functioning eye, she's, you have to forgive this, they make everything a little bit blurry. You see shapes and so on and so forth, but there's some expectations, you know? So it's probably, and she looking up and down and taking in your dress. Yeah. Well, I'm guessing it's probably not quite a standard you're expected to be living by.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a step up from a rusted out train car.
Yeah, I heard about that as well. 6 hours, wasn't it?
Somewhere thereabouts.
Well, your friend's been up there for a couple of days, clattering around, making a noise that would wake the dead.
Well, if you'll excuse us, and at this point Gabriel's kind of just gonna turn and walk, not really waiting for a response.
As you make your way up, the voice follows you. It's, while you're here, do me a favour and don't give the game away. As she's there, putting the contact lens back in. No one expects an Acrozian lass, put it that way.
You look very cool, and I follow Gabriel.
Making your way into this upstairs room, which has now been cleared of dust and is now relatively empty, but has the option for many a improvements to be made. And as you wait, and as you kind of look around, you look out the window and you can see over Crow's Foot. You can see just in the distance before it disappears into the night, into the darkness and the fog, the silhouette of the Red Sash Academy, where the Red Sashes famously train in their mastery of sword discipline. And it's shortly after this that Brolin enters with a face of thunder. And in his hands carrying a very functional wooden box.
I'm gonna have to be the one here. What's in the box?
You're reminded of a famous line from one of the Grapes, the theatrical releases of the story of the famed killer of the deadly sins. And at this point, Brolin just sits down in the corner, opens the box, and throws something out into the floor. It happened. Looking at the object he has just thrown, it is what looks to be a grappling gun. Very, very useful piece of kit, made famous by the Wraiths, the notorious thieves gang. However, this one probably measures about 3 to 4 inches across. The gun itself, the grapple itself, is made of very, very flimsy looking wood, and rather than a travel, looks to be attached by a simple length of string.
So your pet mouse is looking to grapple up the side of a building?
Worse than that. It's on. I paid way more than it was worth. I thought it would be useful. You know what this means, don't you?
You're out, we're in, and that means you also have a target.
And looking across at Lottie and Hestia to see if either of them are aware of the superstition.
Yes. Kind of noticing Brolin's eyes move about. He's been had, which means that he's sort of out of the game until we rectify the situation. In my old line of work, this would be an eye for an eye.
It's Brolin sits there with his deck of cards, and at this point he sort of goes into a one-handed shuffle, and you see the very obvious kind of trying to disprove it, and it's a Jinx. Anyway, the idea was that it was sold to me, and I thought it would be useful. It's something the Wraiths are rumored to absolutely swear by. This thing you can traverse the side of a building in seconds. This, you'd be lucky to get them 3 inches off the ground. Anyway, it was sold to me by one Asher Thrupp. Apparently he's made a bit of a deal with doing these things, but for the time being, I've got one last thing to do. But other than that, we're out. Well, I'm out. And I haven't got it back until we, or you, grift him back.
So, from what I'm understanding is a, and you hear a bit of mocking in Gabriel's voice. a purveyor of fine wares.
Absolutely. He takes a recognized item, makes his own version of it, which is frankly extortion, and sells it at a markup price. Absolute premium rate. The only difference is that he doesn't know how to get out. I'm going to make one more call, because I can't help but feel that for this one, well, I'm going to need to call in a favor.
We'll wait for that call then, so to speak, because I don't want to rush you.
You can rush all you want. The sooner I'm back in the game, the happier I'll be. Where is Frank living at the moment?
It's kind of wherever there's business, sort of. He'll be trying to make a couple shady deals, possibly try and make a coin or two here or there, just like in alleyways. Anyone that needs just anything made, he'd just be there, skulking about.
Absolutely. If it's less than reputable, likely you yourself are also in Crowsfoot. However, in the east of the district, and where a large figure kind of stands opposite you in a narrow alleyway. There's only about 3 feet between you, both of you against the wall. The most identifying feature of this is the 2 tattoos. He wears kind of this low buttoned shirt, upon which a crow can be seen kind of hopping around and occasionally pecking. The line created by his pectoral. The other one, and the one that at the moment seems to be fairly docile, you've noticed it reflects his mood, is a snake, which the inclusion of demon blood in both of these tattoos creates the illusion of movement. The snake itself, which just kind of rides where his hair has been shaved on the sides, and this snake kind of at the moment undulates fairly rhythmically. It's when it rises up and the hood unfurls that you generally means he's in a bit of a mood. This is Bell, the second in command of the Crows. What have you made for them?
What have I made? I have made a stun baton, I guess. That sort of works.
You see him, he picks it up, twists the handle, and it crackles with electroplasmic energy as he kind of holds it up, and both of your faces are illuminated in the blue glow. And it's at this point those shadows are cast out from this, and you realise that there is another figure who is seemingly patiently waiting for one of you at least. Bell also notices this and quickly pays up and makes his way out away from the new figure, who now makes his way towards you. Yes.
Okay.
The first thing. Oh,
no, go on. Sorry.
I was going to say the first thing you noticed as soon as the light kind of falls across the figure's face is that there are additional eyes, 2 extra eyes in the forehead, and with a square pupil of a goat. I don't think we've ever had the pleasure of actually a formal introduction.
No, I don't believe so.
However, you've been at my table multiple times. You now place the figure as from Night Market, and something you've learned of not to play at that table.
Huh.
We're in need of somebody like yourself. And in exchange, and it pains me to say this, you do this for us, you run with us. I clear the debt. And you possibly make some coin along the way. Provided I don't spend it on.
Well, it's not particularly coin I'm looking for, it's more materials.
Yeah. Coin buys materials. We'll make things happen.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Let me introduce you to everyone else. And as the two of you make your way through the district, returning to the den of occult intrigue and arcane knowledge, you're led upstairs and entering the room. Would you like to describe Frank Sparks as Brolin returns with someone you haven't seen before?
Yeah. So he's a tall, slender male. He has this like scruffy beard going on, and hair always like in his face. He tends to like get out of the way. He wears his Tinkerer leather gloves all the time. They're very worn from managing to make small contraptions and other sorts of gizmos and gadgets. His coat has tear marks from, he doesn't want to call it failed experiments, but work in progresses, as he likes to call them. And he also has a walking stick. He likes to pretend he has a limp, but he doesn't. He just has it. That's more like it's just on the side there, just to give him, well, something perhaps to be an advantage or a disadvantage. That's about it, really.
Allow me to introduce Sparks, something of a gifted creator when it comes to Sparkcraft, hence the name. And Hestia, Lottie, and Gabriel.
Can I help you with your bags?
Who, me?
Yes. With the stick and the bags.
Gabriel makes a smirk and goes, "If you let her, she's gonna rifle through your bags." And he says that in a very coy, joking way, though.
At this point, I pull out a notebook, quickly scribble something down, close it, just say, "Feel free," with a glint in my eye, just like.
It's fine materials. Let me go set it down. And she looks around for a place to sit something down, and decides on a corner and places it there.
Absolutely, and is your curiosity going to get the better of you?
I definitely feel the sides of the bag, but appearances and first impressions, I just pat. I feel the zipper, and then I turn around and come back, beaming.
What you can feel in there's quite a lot of metal pieces. There's what feels like a spool, likely wire of some description. There's a couple of things in there that when you move it as well clink, like the bottles, the contents of which you don't know. It seems to be a lot of various components that might one day be formed into something functional.
I'm not interested in this. Water? I have a sink over there. Does anyone else want water? I'm a little parched.
The dust has, over the last few days, has really kind of caught in your throat, and
No, I'll be good.
Gabriel kind of opens his coat, and there's a very clear bottle of whiskey sitting there. He goes, I've got my water here.
and upon switching on the tap as well, there's that inevitable. The water runs through, brown at first. You've got to run it for a few minutes just to kind of clear the build-up and rust that's formed up in the pipes over however many years. As it you hear the groaning and the creaking in the walls.
It's spring-fed. It tastes great. Just
I definitely don't want your water.
Meanwhile, and would anyone like to go out and potentially get information or look into your target a little bit more?
Alright, so, well, Gabriel's gonna do what Gabriel does, and he wants to hit up Celia, obviously, partially to check in on her since she was unfortunately arrested last time. He wants to check in, try to mend any sort of relationship there if need be. He knows he did bail her out, but still one of those things you gotta check in. Also, he wants to chit-chat with people that he knows to see if maybe they've had similar incidents.
Finding Celia, she does have it's gone down over the last few days, but she does have the remnants of a bruise and a black eye. And nods an acknowledgement as you make your way over. And then indicating with a tilt of her head towards a side alley, not entirely unlike the one that Sparks and Bell met in a few hours previously.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk.
Indeed. Gabriel's gonna follow her?
The two of you walk along through the alleyway, kind of keeping off the main track as you compare notes. What would you like to know?
Well, I feel like this is a roll here. Or is it?
I'll say it's a control position. You'll get something, but see if you can get something else with the roll if you like it.
Alright, I will go ahead and do consort. Since she is a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I get 1 bonus die. Because I'm gathering information on the target.
Absolutely. Oh, and a crit. Very nice.
That's a good day. It's gonna be a good day, guys.
She stops and kind of leans into the buttress of a building, which almost completely engulfed in the shadow at this point. Are you roping?
Has yet to be decided, but I am open to the idea.
Well, I mean, you're not the first one to fall afoul of his sales patter. Certainly not the last, but you can at least take him for some coin while you're at it. Man fancies himself a collector. Most specifically, a collector of fine Eruvian weaponry. Rifles, sabers, scimitars. There is a... Oh, sorry.
Gabriel's gonna follow up. Is there... That's a relatively specific type of weapon. Is there something specifically that he's in the market for that you know?
Well, actually, going up market, she indicates towards the sorry, let me find my map. East or south or north, but indicates on the compass towards Charter Hall. Making your way across the district, and so it's it's to the west. Yeah, so going to the west and into Charter Hall, you make your way through the streets and very kind of busy footfall and into the Charter Hall auction house itself. Everything kind of displayed and ready. A lot of the goods that are going up under the hammer are on display so that those interested can see them up close. And she takes you over to a set of pistols which have been forged in the Alduara, famed Alduara style, itself being a city in the south of Aruvia. The brace of pistols themselves sort of have this marbling effect on the metalwork. Rumour has it that is only part of the set, that there's actually a rifle that goes with it. However, it's one of those things, it's a ghost story. Occasionally it emerges, somebody's got it for sale, and then it disappears for another 10 years. I've never seen it. Personally, I don't even believe it exists. I think it's people like our mutual friend, who are buying into these kind of stories and keeping the legend alive.
How fortuitous. We have something of a craftsman in our midst now. Is this something I can run with? Thank you as always, Celia.
Call this one a freebie for bailing me out. I appreciate it, Gabriel.
Absolutely. You know I'm here when you need me. It's how this works.
Anytime. And with that, the two of you leave the auction house. She turns right, you turn left, and make your way back. Anyone else? Sparks, Lottie, Hestia?
Is there a way to come up above the building and look down?
Of your new hideout, or sorry, is that the building of your hideout or the?
Oh
or
yes, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. There is the back window that overlooks that dilapidated courtyard. There is a lot of ivy and growth up the side of the house, which itself also leads to a clay cast drain pipe as well. So yes, you can get on the roof easily enough.
I turn around and survey my friends. Isn't this place just the best? I feel like we really lucked out here, you know? Like, real estate's a big thing right now.
As you say that, you realise that from the chimney, sort of stood on the roof, you realise that there is a very, very long dead crow which has like crooked wings and just stuck in the top of the chimney.
It could do a little better. I mean, it's a fixer-upper.
That was a
You know?
sudden change of heart. What happened to? Oh, this is amazing.
I mean, it could be some sort of after-work project. Just,
It's better than living in alleyways.
yes, I guess so. I can bring some old stuff from my house if you want. Some things we don't use. We
Yeah,
might
I mean,
have
like,
rugs and curtains if you want.
yeah, chairs are great. I mean, we definitely need at least one, you know? And if you
At
have
least-
any other cups,
At least one.
I mean, yeah, sure, we need like 4, but I mean, if someone's just giving out chairs, I mean, all I need is one, and I don't want to put anyone out because they have to lug 4 chairs across the district. I mean, chairs, am I right? And I look at Gabriel.
So, question to the storyteller here. What exactly is the state of the old train car? Because I might know where some train benches are.
The train car has been more abandoned than it was previously. Some of the local urchins moved in there for about 4 days before they saw the hooded one. Now, being tweens, rumor spreads like wildfire. That place has a reputation now of being haunted.
Not necessarily concerned about the hooded one. So Gabriel's kind of go, I know where to get some train benches.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Blades in the Dark, What Happens in the Dusk, part of the Domain Gaming, written and told by Wyverian and Livespark. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, remember the first rule of a con. Offer them everything for nothing, and give them nothing for everything.